Hey everyone, my name's Cara. Today is the final video of Vlogstice for 2025. I want to talk about gift giving. I want to sing some songs. I've already done the music portion of this video. For transparency, I pre-recorded that stuff so that I would have it done earlier, so that if my housemates are falling asleep while I work on the rest of this, the singing and music playing part is already done, but you'll see it later in the video. That's what you have to look forward to in this video, but first, we have a bunch of candles to open. Da, 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 da. This is spoilers. 'Twas the night before Solstice, and all through the attic, people were shouting, "Enough candles! We've had it!" We're almost done. There's only a few left. Well, several. There's a handful. Oh, I didn't have this light on the whole time. Ha! No, let's not do that. Too bright, too bright. So here we are, down to the final 5. Oh right, we already opened the 20th in the previous video, so we're starting with the 21st, which is actually the day this video will be going up. And it's the last white box with a red jar. This is a kind of spicy one. Not exactly spicy, but something pungent, something strong. It's kind of spicy. Is there cinnamon in here? I don't know. Winter poppy. I really don't think I would have gotten that. What does it say here? Fig, gingerbread, and honey. 22, blue box, green jar. Whoa, yep. Plant powered. They really just made all the green ones the plant smells. This smells like eucalyptus though. This smells just like eucalyptus mint or something. Something like that. We've got bay leaf and neroli. Okay. It's a very light scent. I could see this being like a tea scent, which I feel like neroli oil is similar in a way to bergamot, and bay leaf. Okay. Definitely get the plant smell. 23. Green box, red jar, the darker red this time. Okay, this is very sweet smelling fruit. Possibly also floral again. I could see this being like hollyberry, something like that. Snowberry, the one time I guessed berry and it was berry. A solstice miracle. And yes, I'm going through these a little faster because we have 5 of them to get through in the whole rest of the video. 24. What color is this box? Is it also green? Yeah, it's a green one. It's hard to tell in this light. Green box, blue, purple. I was about to say purple. Green box, purple. I just did it again. Green box, blue jar. Baby powder. This is a baby powder, similar scent thing. Okay, so what was it the other times that I thought it was that? It was like powdery, it was like soft. This one smells more like baby powder than any of the rest of them have. Blackberry bramble? What do you mean? I'm not getting berry, and I love blackberry. Okay, bay leaf and neroli. Lemon, magnolia, and orange flower. Okay, there's orange. Snowberry with strawberry, vanilla, and gourmand. Whatever gourmand is, it was in one of the ones last time too. Strawberry vanilla? Sort of. I sort of get that. My nose is a little clogged. So we're gonna, deal with that. Blackberry bramble is lemon, mandarin, bergamot. So this should smell very citrusy. And I'm not getting citrus. My nose is getting baby powder, and that's it. Which is a lovely scent. I actually have a baby powder scented candle that I've had for a very long time. I used to use it in my very early rituals, and it smelled exactly like if you were to poof a cloud of baby powder. I love the scent, so it's not a bad thing, but that is just what I'm getting. I'm not getting any citrus. I must be a little too clogged up today. So that was the Christmas Eve scent, and what do they have for the Christmas Day scent? Red box, white jar. I'm afraid I have to say I do not like this one. I'm not sure what it is. It was very strong at first, and now I'm getting nothing out of it. I have no guess. I'm not getting anything from this one. Oh, and I could have guessed. It's a white jar for Christmas Day. It's white Christmas. Smells like nothing. No, it has a scent. You know what it smells like? I'm getting like light floral. But now it's like in my head, one of the other ones said magnolia. This smells like magnolia to me. There's like a light floral that I'm able to get now, but it's not a strong scent. It was very strong at first in a way that like I didn't like what that scent was. And now it's just nothing. White Christmas. Green fresh, jasmine, and rose. Okay. I don't know what green fresh is supposed to be. Jasmine and rose, very lightly, I can see that. Maybe the green fresh is what hit me first. But that is the 25th. So sorry for spoilers if any of you have this advent calendar and you're watching this on the 21st and now you know what the rest of them are, but there we have it. So for storage purposes, I've put them all back in, but I put them in chronological order. So this is the order in which we actually opened them. The candy cane stripes were very front loaded, and then we had no white ones for quite a while until the 21st. But if you look in the little openings, you can see that every fifth one was a white jar. So they did go in order of red, green, darker red, blue, and white as far as the jars across. But the boxes were all over the place. I did do that on camera, so for those of you who like organizational things, maybe I'll put that up in the corner and you can watch me do that sped up while I get to talking about gift giving. So raise your hand if you know what I'm talking about. Who here knows about the 5 love languages? You've heard people talk about they are physical touch, quality time, words of affirmation, gifts of service, and gift giving / receiving. I think it's just called gifts. So breaking it down to one word each: touch, words, time, service, gifts. And this is essentially a way of attempting to understand how each of us show and recognize receiving love. So when you do the quiz online and stuff, it asks you things like comparing one to the other. And there's a version for if you're in a relationship or if you're not in a relationship. I find that it's easier to just do the version of the quiz as though you are just a single person and think of it more in general how you receive love from other people, because it also might not be romantic for everybody. But also, even as someone who does have romantic relationships, I found it easier to not think about any individual partner, because when I first learned about this, the partner I had at the time, there were other reasons why certain types of love languages were not as appealing to me as others. But when I realized more on a wider scale, how do I show affection to my friend? How do I show love to my mom and my brother? And what do my friends or relatives or romantic partners do that I recognize and think, oh, they really love me because that happened, I recognize that. So I recommend doing that version of it if you're going to do the quiz. But the quiz asks you things like, if your partner, it uses those terms, I think, if the person you're in a relationship with were to offer you a nice warm hug, or if they were to say to you, wow, I'm so proud of you, you did a really good job, right? Like, which one of those two things would feel more like love to you? And it might be both, but it's just like, in more circumstances, which are you more likely to enjoy more often? And it asks you lots of comparisons like that. So in one matchup, you might prefer physical touch versus the other thing, but in another matchup, you might prefer the other thing versus whatever it's being compared to in that round, right? So all of these things are just tools to help us try to figure stuff out. It's not like completely either or, one thing or the other, all or nothing, but this is very interesting to me because one of them is gifts, and giving and receiving gifts is something that I think is really difficult for some people. I know has been really difficult for me in the past. And for me, the reasons that it has been difficult are not actually around, it turns out, the giving and receiving of gifts. It's around obligation, expectation, and money. I realized years ago when I was thinking about this and trying to be very neutral and not thinking about it in terms of any specific relationship, I realized, thinking throughout my life, I do like to get little gifts from people, and I love to pick up a little gift here and there for someone because I see something that reminds me of them. And so I love to do little things like that, like, oh, I just bought this little thing and here you go. Not for a birthday, not for a holiday necessarily, but like I love to do that at any time. And I love when people do that for me, especially if it is something really heartfelt. It actually is a connection between us, something that they know about me. I love that. I don't love it when it feels like it is just being done out of obligation or expectation, and you can tell that there's not a lot of actual connection behind it. I'm not going to say a lot of thought, because there can be thought behind just getting somebody anything, but what I mean is really the personal connection to knowing what it is that I would like and what I would appreciate. And the same with other people. Like, you have to know when you're the one giving the gift. So what do I know about my friends or my relatives that I know that they would appreciate this one thing and not the other I also have known people in the past who just have a lot more money than I do and kind of always have. And so the gifts that they tend to give and the gifts that they expect to receive are more expensive. And it's very difficult for me to get on board with stuff like that when I feel like there is a threshold of the amount that something costs that I cannot keep up with. So when I've had those relationships or when I've had those friendships, the money aspect really gets in the way of my enjoyment of the simple giving each other a gift. And I know a lot of people who feel this way about it too, because they'll say things like, oh, I got so-and-so this small thing, but they got me this huge thing, and now I feel bad because I didn't spend as much money, or it's not as big of a deal, or it's not as thoughtful, it's not as close of a connection to them or whatever. You feel like you didn't do as good of a job, and so you then feel obligated to do more. That's the piece that makes it feel kind of itchy to me, like uncomfortable, not good. So when I first learned about love languages and I took the quiz, gifts was my bottom of the pile. It was the lowest ranked thing because anytime any one of those questions came up, I was like, nope, gifts are not where it's at for me. And it's true, I'm not somebody who expects a lot of gifts. I also know that I can't do a lot in terms of giving people gifts a lot of the time, but I do like to make things. And that's also something that's been tough in the past. Sometimes you meet people who really just do not like handmade gifts because they associate things being handmade with them being cheap. And if you're somebody who's into like buying artisan-made, handmade goods, then you know that's not necessarily true. Sometimes handmade things are quite expensive. But when I was a kid, there was this sense that something that we would make for one another is not as good of a gift as something that somebody else would spend a lot of money on for you. But I just wasn't brought up that way, and I've never resonated with that. I've always preferred something that is made with love and intention and thought of our connection and our relationship over something that might cost a lot of money, so it's flashy and oh, it shows, look, you were willing to spend this much money on me, but is an item that doesn't resonate with me, that isn't something that I actually want, need, will use, etc. And so that has caused some friction in the past with giving and receiving gifts, that sometimes people would get me this extravagant gift. I'm like, have you met me? What did you think I would like about this? And that's not how I respond when I receive the gift, to be clear. But especially if this was someone like a partner, I would at some point, after the moment has passed, I'm not going to in the moment, be weird about it. But if it's somebody who's going to be in my life for a long time, I do want to have a conversation with them at some point about those types of things, because you don't want to keep getting stuff that you don't like, don't want, won't use, whatever, especially if it's expensive and you're someone like me who's like, you don't need to keep spending that much money. This isn't really something that I vibe with. But no matter how tactfully you try to have those conversations, it's hard. It hurts people's feelings when they have been brought up to think spending money is the thing that shows love. So this is the thing, it's not the gifts necessarily, it's the money. But that's not a love language. It's the giving and receiving of gifts, which money can be a gift. It can. I love a gift card. But yeah, I've always just felt bad if I get a gift that doesn't have any personal connection to me, and the thing I'm supposed to appreciate about it is just how much money it cost. Because I feel like you could have gotten me something that's really personally special to me that cost you less. And as somebody who doesn't have money to blow like that, I always want to know things like that. And I want to name that even as I'm recording this vlog and I'm just talking at my camera in my room alone, and I can edit all this out and cut all of this out if I want to, I am already feeling an amount of anxiety about talking about this. But what I'm really trying to do here is illustrate how this has been weird for me in the past, and kind of working through what was weird about it in those earlier instances has helped me figure out what it actually is that's weird about it for me, and that it's not gifts themselves, because I actually love giving and receiving gifts. It's these other things about it that make it kind of weird. And so, yeah, my relatives and I, my family, me, my mom, my brother, we don't really do much for each other for holidays because we don't have the money to do that, and we know that. So we do little things here and there, but when it comes to them, receiving gifts from them is not what lets me know that I'm loved. When it comes to them, we also don't spend a lot of quality time together, so for them, it's not quality time. Most of our relationship, I guess I would say, is words, but it's also like I don't need them to say the words I love you. So I do think that it matters what kind of relationship you're talking about, because when it comes to my relationship with them, I don't need a lot of active reinforcement of that. When it comes to my friendships, also, a lot of my friends are online, so quality time is something that is really important to me when it comes to my partner or friends that I have had in person. I love to spend time with people and just spend time doing whatever. But a lot of my friendships and some of my relationships have been long distance, and a lot of our relationship is online, so words of affirmation becomes bigger because our primary method of communication with one another is just verbally communicating, having conversations. So a lot of my connection with a lot of my friends is based on words because that's what we have. But when we have time to be together in person, quality time is it for me. It is the major thing. And then depending on the person and the relationship, like I said, whether it's friends in community or a partner, acts of service are also huge for me because as somebody who struggles to get things done on my own and certain things are really difficult for me with executive dysfunction and other things are difficult for me for other reasons in life, it's hard for me to do certain things for myself or by myself. And so I consider things like, oh, let me go with you to do that thing. That's quality time because we're spending time together, but it's also an act of service because you're going with me to help me get a thing done. Your being there helps me do that. So it could be that, or it could be, let me do those dishes for you so that you don't have to get up and do it. Or since you're busy in a meeting right now, let me make dinner and I'll bring it to you so that you can have it during your meeting and you don't have to wait until after. You know, those types of things mean so much to me because it's helping me get through my day. It's helping me function. It's also showing me that you understand what I need to function at my best and to be supported. So for me, I really do feel like quality time and acts of service are my top two, probably most of the time. I will pick those over anything else. Physical touch really only matters for me with my committed romantic partner. I do like hugging my friends. I'm a hugger most of the time, not all of the time, but I don't need that from them in order to feel loved, in order to feel like we have a connection, right? A lot of my friends, never even met them in person. We've never hugged. So if I needed that, I wouldn't be feeling love from them in the same way. But luckily, I can also experience that through the words of affirmation. And again, not saying I love you, but through conversation, showing that we support one another emotionally, spiritually. And gifts. I don't exchange gifts with a lot of my friends online. Some of them I have. But when it comes to people I know in person, I do love getting little gifts. And I'm also thinking not just things like I got you this little trinket or I got you this t-shirt from this thing I went to, but like when my partner goes to the store for something that they need just along their way, along their day, and I'm doing whatever else in my day, they decided to stop somewhere and grab themselves something. And when they come back, they have my favorite soda, just my favorite little treat beverage, or they bring me some cookies that I like, some vegan cookies. That kind of stuff means so much to me. It's very nice, and it means a lot, just this idea that in the same way that when I'm out at the store and I see a little thing for 50 cents or $1 that's like, oh, that is so this friend of mine, like this is something that they are so into, they would love this, it's just a cute little thing, they can put it on their desk, right? And it's $1 or something. The fact that I can be going throughout my day and I see something and it reminds me of a friend and I get it and I give it to them and it says, I was thinking about you in my day. Getting a little tea, you know, that somebody picked up for me on the way or something like that. That's what's so nice about it. They didn't do it because they thought they had to because it's a gift-giving holiday. They didn't do it out of some other kind of obligation because like I made them feel like they had to get me something. It's not expensive, so I know that it's not breaking the bank for anybody. We're all struggling right now. And it's just like nice because it's also like, oh, you pay attention when I tell you things, that you knew that that is a thing that I like. I also know some people who don't want to receive gifts because they don't want to have more things. Maybe they're into minimalism, maybe they're trying to declutter, they just don't want to collect a bunch more things. So when it comes to folks like that, I think of gifts for those people as, being something like going somewhere together, spending time together, sharing a meal together. But a lot of my friends, like I said, we don't see each other in person, so nothing that I'm doing for them is anything in that realm. I'm not getting them gifts. We're not going places together. We're not spending time together in that way. So it's all just words of affirmation, or in this case, like recognition, wishing each other a happy solstice, wishing each other a happy birthday, saying, hey, I remember in that meeting a month ago, you shared this thing that was coming up. How did that go? Right? Just checking in with people. It's not a gift in the sense of exchanging a physical thing, but it is a gift in the sense of it's an energetic gift. So I don't really know anymore which love languages would be ranked where, because for me it depends on the relationship and the person, but they all play a part. And I think it's mostly just about remembering that the way that someone else shows love might be different than how we have become accustomed to noticing love and feeling love. And when I say love, I think you've gathered at this point that I just mean any kind of affection. This could be friendship as well, not just romantic love. Love is so much bigger than all of that and all of us. So I think that's what's really important about it, is that in those times where you feel like, well, this person isn't showing that they love me, they haven't done, said, whatever, anything that shows to me that they love me, they might think that they are doing the things that show love because they are doing what to them shows love. So in that sort of interpersonal relationship, it makes sense to keep these things in mind, but also in the sense that thinking that the way that we like to receive love or care must also be the way that we show it to someone else. I think that's also where we get tripped up, because we need to recognize that because somebody else might receive it differently, we can show love to people in a different way than the ways that we prefer to receive it ourselves. So it's just all a big mix of all of these different things. And let me tell you, when I sat down today, this evening, I went to a solstice ritual earlier and then I recorded this after. I had decided that I wanted to talk about gift giving because it's a gift giving holiday time of year. I did not know that I was going to talk about all the love languages. I didn't know that this is what was going to come out. But sometimes you sit down in front of a camera and start talking at it, and you just let the universe pour through you what is meant to come through you that day. So I knew I was going to talk about gifts. I did not know I was going to talk about all of that. Meanwhile, I just got a notification from the Chani astrology app. Venus is squaring Saturn right now, and the little message with it is boundary check. Respect your loved one's lines in the sand and your own. And what were we just talking about? Understanding other people's wants, needs, and recognitions of love and your own, and how those interact with one another. It's in the stars. So I've been yapping for a while, and I still want to share a song with you, so I'm gonna wrap this up. I'm going to pass it over to pre-recorded me to teach you a little song from Reclaiming. It's from one of the books. I'll talk about it in that clip, and then I'll come back for my final outro. I do have a little winter solstice song, and it is late at night, and my housemates are still awake right now, but they are getting ready to go to sleep. So I have my flute here because it's a little less obnoxious than the tin whistle. And I am pre-recording this before I record the rest of the video so that I can get this done before my housemates go to bed so that they don't have to hear music in the middle of the night, although I hope that it's nice. This song is called The Sun is Born. It's by Diane Baker, and it is found in Circle Round, Raising Children in Goddess Traditions by Starhawk, Diane Baker, and Anne Hill. There are songs in the book, and it has sheet music, so if you play piano or anything that's in the same key, such as a flute, you can play along. So I will teach you the song, I'll put the words on the screen, I will put the lyrics at the bottom, or slightly above the bottom so that the captions hopefully also have room for those who need them. But the words are, I'm just going to teach this like how we teach chants in Reclaiming. So we'll do the words first and then add the melody, and we'll go section by section, and you can repeat it back. And then I will play the tune, and then I will sing and play separately, and I'll edit them together. So the words are, the sun is born again today. The sun is born again today. We greet the sun's first morning ray. We sing and celebrate the light The sun's born in the longest night. Lovely. Now we'll add the melody, and it's quite simple because it is designed to be used with children. The sun is born again today. We greet the sun's first morning ray. We sing and celebrate the light. The sun's born in the longest night. And now if we do line by line, the whole first line, and then the whole second line. The sun is born again today. We greet the sun's first morning ray. We sing and celebrate the light. The sun's born in the longest night. Beautiful. I assume most of you sang along. So now let's sing and play the whole thing. The sun is born again today. We greet the sun's first morning ray. We sing and celebrate the light. The sun's born in the longest night. The sun is born again today. We greet the sun's first morning ray. We sing and celebrate the light. The sun's born in the longest night. The sun is born again today. We greet the sun's first morning ray. We sing and celebrate the light. The sun's born in the longest night. So that is today's Vlogstice video. Thank you so much for watching and or listening to this video and the whole series of Vlogstice 2025. I will see you next year. And I'll see you on my second channel because I am going to be uploading a video on my second channel as well. But other than that, I will see you in 2026. I am taking the rest of the year off of posting content. On this half of the globe, we are coming into winter. It is the longest night. It is the darkest part of the year. Nature is coming to rest, and so shall I. So I will see you next time. And until then, don't forget to be awesome. Blessed be, and goodbye. Happy Vlogstice.